Hello everyone, my name is Aarti and you're watching HW News. Congress Chairperson Sonia Gandhi today criticized Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government in an editorial. She criticized Prime Minister Modi and his government for attacking India's institutions, misusing government agencies, undermining the judiciary and compromising the Indian media in an editorial for The Hindu. In the piece titled "An Enforced Silence Cannot Solve India's Problems," Sonia Gandhi said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statements either ignore the most pressing, vital issues of the day or are platitudes and verbal gymnastics to gloss over or distract from these issues. She said that Modi's actions speak far louder than his words, while his statements, when he is not venting anger on the opposition or blaming past leaders for today's ills, his actions leave little to the imagination on the government's true intentions. Let's look at the charges leveled by Sonia Gandhi on Prime Minister Modi one by one. Number 1. Dismantling pillars of democracy. Sonia Gandhi says over the past few months, pillars of democracy have been dismantled and their actions demonstrated a deep-rooted disdain for democracy and democratic accountability. She alleges that in the last session, that is the budget session, government deployed a strategy to disrupt parliament and prevent the opposition from raising issues of grave importance to the country and its people such as unemployment, inflation and social divisions, and discussing the year's budget and the Adani scam, among other vital issues. She further writes, and I quote, "Faced with a determined opposition, the government resorted to unprecedented measures, expunging speeches, preventing discussions, attacking members of the parliament, and finally disqualifying a Congress member of parliament at lightning speed. As a result, the budget of 45 lakh crore of rupees of people's money was passed without any debate. In fact, the Prime Minister was busy inaugurating projects in his constituency with widespread media coverage when the finance bill was rammed through the Lok Sabha." She said Modi government's misuse of the CBI and the ED is also well known. Over 95% of political cases are filed only against the opposition parties, but cases against those who join the BJP are miraculously evaporating. The misuse of laws meant for national security against journalists, activists and reputed think tanks has been unprecedented. The Prime Minister makes grandiose statements about truth and justice even as allegations of financial fraud against his businessman friend are ignored. Interpol withdraws a notice against the fugitive Mehul Choksi, and the convicted rapists of Bilkis Bano are set free and go on to share a stage with BJP leaders. She then slams Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju, who has been engaged in bitter war of words with Judiciary over the collegium issue. She says that the systematic efforts to undermine the credibility of Judiciary has reached a crisis point, with the Union Law Minister calling some retired judges as anti-national and warning that they will pay a price. Sonia Gandhi says that this language is deliberately chosen to misguide the people, inflame their passions, and thereby intimidate serving judges. Second point, independence of media compromised with political intimidation. Sonia Gandhi further writes that government's political intimidation, along with financial might of the BJP's friends, has compromised media's independence. She says, and I quote, "Evening debates on news channels emerging as slanging matches to shout down and silence those who question the government. Not satisfied with this, the government has armed itself with legal powers by amending the information technology rules to remove legal protections for any news which it dislikes under the label of fake news. The Supreme Court of India has recently made clear that criticism of the government is not a ground for penal action. Is the government even listening? No doubt, an army of lawyers from the BJP and RSS stands ready to harass any platform which publishes criticism of the great leader." Number 3. PM's silence on pressing issues. Sonia Gandhi then says that enforcing silence cannot solve India's problems. The Prime Minister is silent on legitimate questions on his government's actions which affect the lives of millions. The Finance Minister did not mention unemployment or inflation in her budget speech. It is as if these problems do not even exist. Her silence does not help crores of people struggling to afford daily commodities such as milk, vegetables, eggs, cooking gas and oil, or youth facing record unemployment rates. After failing on his promise to double the income of farmers by 2022, the Prime Minister has conveniently fallen silent. But their problems of rising cost and unremunerative prices for their crops remain here and now. Furthermore, Sonia Gandhi writes that the Prime Minister ignores the rising tide of hatred and violence egged on by BJP and RSS leaders and has not even once called for peace and harmony or acted to rein in the offenders, let alone bring them to justice. Religious festivals seem to have become occasion to intimidate and bully others, a far cry from when they were occasions for joy and celebration. Instead, there is intimidation and discrimination only on account of their religion, food, caste, gender, or language. On the live border issue with China, we have the spectacle of the Prime Minister in denial about Chinese infiltration, the government blocking discussion in the parliament, while the External Affairs Minister adopts a defeatist attitude when it comes to China, which is further emboldened in its intransigence. Now she ends the opinion piece saying that the coming few months are very crucial, and despite the efforts of the BJP to use power in key states where elections are due, Congress will take its message to the people just like it did during Bharat Jodo Yatra. She says in the end, and I quote, "The Congress party understands its solemn duty as the principal opposition party and stands ready to work with all like-minded parties to fulfill it." Well, her opinion piece has certainly ruffled feathers of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But that's all for this video. Do let us know what you think about this in the comment box below. For more news and updates, you can log on to www.hwnews.in.